You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 11th of March. In major infra push, PM Modi unveils 112 national highway projects. Pakistanis prepare for Ramadan amid concerns of mounting inflation. And Sri Lanka's opposition rejects President's invite for dialogue over IMF bailout program. And now for all the details. As part of mega infrastructure push, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of 112 national highway projects spread across the country. The projects, worth about 1 lakh crore rupees, also include the Haryana section of the landmark Dwarka Expressway, which will help improve traffic flow between Delhi and Gurugram. The Prime Minister Modi said the projects are next-generation infrastructure for Viksit Bharat. He said this is an India of big goals. He also took a dig at the opposition alliance and said they are not able to sleep due to the development happening under his regime.
वो लोग कह रहे हैं कि मोदी चुनाव की वजह से लाखों करोड़ रुपयों के काम कर रहा है। 10 वर्षों में देश इतना बदल गया, लेकिन कांग्रेस और उसके दोस्तों का चश्मा नहीं बदला है। इनके चश्मे का नंबर अभी भी वही है, ऑल नेगेटिव, ऑल नेगेटिव।
In a major setback, India's Supreme Court on Monday dismissed a plea filed by the State Bank of India seeking an extension till June 30 to disclose details of electoral bonds encashed by political parties. Concluding that the requisite information is sufficiently available with the bank, the court asked it to disclose the information by Tuesday. The move comes less than a month after the Supreme Court, while declaring the electoral bond scheme unconstitutional, directed SBI to submit details of electoral bonds purchased since 2019 to the Election Commission by March 6. However, the bank filed the plea for extension citing complexity of decoding and compiling data from the sale of these bonds. The decision was a setback for PM Modi's BJP, which has been the largest beneficiary of the system introduced in 2017. Electoral bonds was challenged by members of the opposition and a civil society group on the grounds that it hindered the public's right to know who had given money to political parties. Hundreds of supporters of Pakistan's jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan on Sunday took to streets to protest against alleged rigging of the national elections. Voters in Pakistan went to the polls in February in a vote marred by a mobile internet shutdown on election day, arrest and violence in the build-up and unusually delayed results, leading to accusations that the vote was rigged. Khan-backed candidates won 93 seats but did not have the numbers to form a government. He and his party rejected the election results, alleging widespread rigging. Khan was ousted in 2022 after falling out with the country's powerful military, which denies meddling in politics. Multiple legal cases were brought against Khan, which disqualified him as a candidate and sentenced him to long prison terms. He denies wrongdoing.
हमारे 180 से ज़्यादा सीट बनती है, मरकज़ पे भी मैंडेट हमारा है और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह सूबे में है और पंजाब में भी हमारा है। यही हमारा हक है चेयरमैन इमरान खान की कॉल पर। ये जो हो रहा है उस पे हम उनके साथ हैं।
And as the Islamic holy month of Ramadan approaches, people across Pakistan are feeling the pinch of rising prices amid soaring inflation and a crippling economic slowdown. A report.
Pakistanis have been thronging markets to shop for the upcoming holy month of Ramadan amid inflation woes and uncertainty following a controversial election that has resulted in a coalition government. The fasting month, which also sees gastronomical feasting, is expected to begin on Tuesday. Soaring prices of basic food items, with inflation hovering around 30% and economic growth slowing to around 2%, has left residents reflecting on the country's economic and political situation.
साल की कीमतों के निस्बत इस साल महंगाई और बढ़ती जा रही है। जैसा कि सबको पता है, रमज़ान की आमद है। रमज़ानों में महंगाई शूट कर जाती है और आवाम परेशान होती है इस चीज़ों से। तो महंगाई कम होनी चाहिए। अब ये नई क़यादत आई है, देखते हैं ये क्या करती है, तो और कुछ इसके बारे में करे तो देखते हैं। आवाम को चाहिए रिलीफ।
Pakistan urgently needs a fresh IMF agreement to shore up its struggling $350 billion economy. Its current $3 billion 9-month IMF program expires next month.
लोग कहते हैं कि भाई दुकानदार जो है ना वो महंगा बेच रहा है सामान, लेकिन बात ये उसको भी जब महंगा आएगा तो वो भी महंगा ही बेचेगा, जाहिर सी बात है। अब पीछे से जब सस्ता आएगा तो सस्ता बेचेगा। दुकानदार का प्रॉफिट मार्जिन इतना ही है, अगर कम में आएगा तो वो उतना ही रखेगा, ज़्यादा में आ रहा तो भी वो उतना ही रखेगा।
Moving on, opposition lawmakers have declined the invitation of Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe to participate in review meeting of the IMF bailout program, which is helping the cash-strapped nation recover from its worst ever financial crisis. In a letter to the President's Secretary, the Office of Leader of Opposition, Sajid Premadasa, said the invitation is disingenuous and lacked good faith. Criticizing the government's refusal to share details on staff-level agreement with the IMF and its unilateral handling of its negotiations, it said the opposition viewed the government approach as a violation of social equity and unfair to those least able to bear the financial strain. The statement also expresses displeasure over the lack of progress on debt restructuring held by primary bondholders and international sovereign bondholders. However, it reiterated that the opposition is willing to engage with representatives of the IMF. In a viral video shared on social media platforms, 4 Nepali men struck in Russia-Ukraine conflict have appealed the Indian government to rescue them from the war zone. Speaking in Hindi, the men said they were duped by an agent who had promised them role as helpers in Russian army. However, they have been now pushed in battlefield. Out of 30 people, only 5 of us remain, they said, adding that there's lack of cooperation from Nepal's mission in Moscow. Highlighting that Indian nationals have been rescued by New Delhi, the group appealed to India for assistance. So far, at least dozen Nepali nationals have been killed in the conflict between Moscow and Kyiv. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal earlier last week said his government is holding diplomatic talks with Russia for release of Nepalese nationals from the Russian army. Nepal's foreign ministry has also asked public not to sign up for recruitment through illegal or informal channels in any of the security forces around the globe. Nepal only allows its citizens to get recruited in British and Indian forces under the bilateral agreements signed with these countries. And a female cheetah named Gamini in India's Kuno National Park gave birth to 5 cubs on Sunday, bringing the total number of big cats in the country to 26. Taking to X, Forest and Climate Change Minister Bhupendra Yadav hailed the development and pointed out that number of cheetah cubs born in India now stands at 13. Gamini is part of the group of cheetahs brought to India from South Africa under the ambitious Cheetah Reintroduction Project. Initiated in 2022, the project saw the release of 8 cheetahs at Kuno National Park. Following this, in February 2023, an additional 12 cheetahs were introduced to the park from South Africa. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.